tape. As a matter of fact, this material I'm using is a black felt that I bought at, I have a whole bunch of this in different colors. I purchased this at a fabric store. It comes usually, as you see, it's quite wide, and you can buy it it comes in a roll, and I think it's like standard of 54 inches in length and in width. My grip arm mounted onto here, and that grip arm can then go into the top of a stand with the use of another knuckle. And the reason I do this is the way we do it in the business, is because having the knuckle, having the arm allows me a little bit of manipulation. What I've done here is I've masked out the windows, very simply taken one light, bounced it so that the light that hits the card just glows all over the room, but still comes from the same source. See, this is about motivation. And, you know, I talked before about motivation with light. We know there's a window in the room, all right? We know that. And the viewer doesn't necessarily have to know that. So for me, I'm going to create my beams of sunlight with a 1K light. Now, it doesn't have to be a 1K. I could use a 500 watt for now. I could use a smaller fixture. I wouldn't use anything too small, because one of the things I have to do is, all right, so now I've taken that frame and I'm using some gaffer's tape, and I'm creating a nice little Venetian blind effect. Now, one advantage to creating this Venetian blind as opposed to using a real Venetian blind, so a real Venetian blind only comes in one width. Control of the sun. There it is. Look at that. So there is that could be a very acceptable morning effect. So it's important to understand. See, this is why instruments alone mean nothing. You can go out and buy all the instruments you want and hang out at B&H and play with everything and take home just tons of instruments. But understanding what the instruments do is important, but you can't understand what the instruments do until you understand what light is, you see? I mean, it's so dramatic for me. Let me sit up here a little bit. It's so dramatic for me. Here I am just kind of laying here thinking, this kind of midday, looking out the window and light coming in from outside. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to just close the door a little bit. So as you see, the card gets a little less light on it. And now I'm going to go back into that bedroom scene, because I brought that ambient light down. And now I've got, if you think about light, and you can stay on that shot, right? If you think about light quality in the day, to me, the sun in the morning is lower. The sun in the afternoon is a little bit sharper. It's coming from a little bit of a higher angle. So if I white balanced more for that kind of afternoonish look, see, I'd have that sun at more of an angle. And how do I do that? By basically just changing my Venetian blinds. And this is all about taste, you know. Okay, as long as you see the level. Okay, now look what suddenly happened. It suddenly became nighttime, and I haven't done anything other than change the color here. Now, the interesting thing about blue is there's different qualities of blue. There's actually gel cold moonlight blue. There are a number of different shades of blue. You can also use color temperature blue, which is the sunlight blue, and if you put enough of that on, things look blue. But I don't find that to be a really moonish blue. It's a little bit too faded of a blue for me. So I change things around a little bit, because now I don't want as much ambient light. So what I've done is I've closed my barn doors on the light that creates this general cast on the bed here. I've closed them down enough so that this light on the wall is now a stronger source than this light. But even more, I want a little bit more texture in this light. So what I'm going to do is, what I've done is I've just taken over here, just got a little small 200 watt Fresnel, and I'm using a Fresnel because I don't want the light to disperse. I want the light to be rather tight on me. And what I'm going to do is, if you can zoom out to include the lamp and the bed, right, where I'm going to lay. Yeah, you see? So I'm going to take this light and I'm going to close the doors down to make them where I want them. And one thing about the light, probably just this particular bulb, it's kind of warm to me. It's a little bit too warm. I want whiter light. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take color temperature blue, and I'm going to make this light a little bit whiter, so that when I'm laying it, it's not too much of a contrast of orange, from the light, and blue from the moonlight. You see, so now all of a sudden you're creating this effect that's fighting it. See, the blue is now suddenly turning to green and white, and you don't want that. So you want to keep your blue light blue, and have your bed light. Now here, this is a class. Here's a second way to create light in the darkness. You don't want the desk lamp look from the side. You want something from above. And I'm just in the light. I'm still shadowed. I can still read a book by this light.